To teach people control when they do a movement, especially like squat or bench press, today I'm going to show you on the bench press. But you guys will see people that will start training and they don't control the weight on the negative. They'll bring it down really fast, bounce it off of them. If they're squatting, they'll bounce out of the hole. And what some people don't realize is you get a lot out of the negative of the movement. So you're only getting half of what you can out of an exercise if you're only putting force towards the positive and not controlling the negative. So one of the techniques I use to teach people to control the weight is using bands and kettlebells. Now, one thing you have to realize is it takes a significant amount of weight on the kettlebell to get the effect you want to get that bouncing effect. You usually want to start with just the bands and kettlebells and then add weight to that as you move up. If you're somebody's benching a lot of weight and then you want to teach them how to control it, it might take too much weight of a kettlebell to add to there to where they may not be able to move the weight as much to get the effect, if that makes sense. So when I'm doing an exercise with this, I usually start with the kettlebells and bands alone and then work up on top of that with extra weight on the bar. Now, when you're doing this, you want to find a weight that's significant enough to get a nice bouncing effect that stretches the band. And you also want to find a band strong enough to where it won't snap. So you kind of got to mess around with some combinations. Luckily, we have these short bands at Iron Hawaiian Fitness, so these work very well. So I'll wrap it around to test it. And as you can see, it bounces pretty well. That's a 30-pound kettlebell. So after you see how that bounces, what happens is, if somebody comes down, if they're benching and they come down and bounce the bar off their chest and try to ricochet it up, that band's going to stretch and that kettlebell is going to end up pulling that bar back down. Or when they go up, they're going to go up staggered like this and it's going to go all over the place. So the trick to doing an exercise like this is you want to limit the amount of bouncing on the kettlebells, and the way to do that is to lift in a controlled fashion, even on the negative and the positive. So this teaches control, how to control the weight while you're lifting it. Think about it like this. If you're trying to get stronger every week and you bench 60-pound dumbbells one week and they're all over the place, and the next week you bench 60-pound dumbbells and it's a very smooth, controlled motion, you're getting stronger. So don't get in the ego mindset when doing this exercise. Lower the weight, get the bouncing effect. Just learning that control and everything is going to help stimulate the muscle, stimulate the nervous system, and cause more muscle growth. Now, after finding the right band and kettlebell combination, I'm going to show you guys how to do this on the bench press. The difference between lifting controlled and lifting just bouncing it off your chest. Now that I've tried it with I found a kettlebell that works and a band that works, I have enough bouncing effect. The weight's still kind of light, even though I am getting the bounce effect that I want to make me control it. So now I can add weight to it and do sets. Another really good exercise you can do this with is squats, which is not shown in the video, but it's set up the same concept. You actually have more leeway because you have a longer distance to the floor. So you might be able to get a different band that'll pull down more because it won't hit the floor. And there you go, there's a good technique you can use. If you or someone you know is having a hard time going on negative and positive in a controlled fashion, add some bands and kettlebells and learn how to control the weight.